So, squeegees. Essentially, you've got pivoting squeegee handles. Alright, should probably start off with some water on the glass. Cool. So, by spraying the glass, you're essentially going to get a soft wash, which is really good if you've got built up fingerprints which have been sitting there for ages, especially if it's from like a fast food area or something like Hungry Jack's, McDonald's, fast food, etc. Oily fingerprints. That can just break them down, and they can literally, like, I've had like windows above barbecues which are really oily. Spray them down, let the soap work, and then just get straight to squeegeeing. Don't even bother with a washer. And if you've got a good spray pack with a lot of water, if you can just spray a good amount of water on a window, you need to learn what level of, how dirty a window is and whether or not it's going to work for you. But you can just spray it, and then you can start squeegeeing. And you can also, if it doesn't come clean the first time, bring water back up to it and go over it a couple times and then come down. If you know which windows to do it on, you're going to average off being quicker than using a washer. And there's so much about using a squeegee, but we'll have to start with the very, very fundamentals. So if I think the blue one will work better. But you've got your 90-degree angles, both that way as well as this side. And knowing that it's the point of the 90-degree angle, it's the edge of the rubber which does the cleaning. It's not this flat side. It's not this flat side, but it's on an angle. So the rubber itself would be on a 45-degree angle from the glass. And the reason that the rubber is on a 45-degree angle from the glass is the edge. And this is the reason it works better when it's brand new and it stops working as it wears out. Because as it starts to wear out, it becomes flat, like either one of them sides. It's no longer a nice sharp edge. So the sharp edge is going to fit in between the peaks and the valleys and the contours. You know, it's going to stay more parallel with the contour of the glass as it moves across the glass. That's what makes it work well, and that's why it stops working as it wears out, as that sharp edge gets rounded away. Now, that's the first key, is it's that edge. The rubber itself needs to be 45-degree angle, so that corner is on the glass. Now, this mower man handle here is a good example, as water pours out of the handle straight onto my crotch. But you've got a 10-degree, a 25-degree, and I think it's a 35-degree. No, it's 40-degree, 25-degree, and 10-degree. Different angles that it can go on. Alright, I'm going to press pause, put the phone down, use this as a stand, and then I've got both my hands. So yeah, different brand squeegees have your different angles, and you adjust the angle, your angle of the handle, to make sure that the rubber blade is on a 45-degree angle with the edge on the glass, and you're going to get your best results. So, and having said that, you've got handles where the angle is fixed. Obviously the mower man where you can change the angle, and the 10-degree on the mower man is basically like an Unger flathead. Except for, yeah, the Unger flathead doesn't have 10 degrees of angle at all. It's been a fair while since I've used it, but this has always been one of my favourite squeegees. And you can give a little bit of friction to how much swivel you've got on it as well. It's a well built handle, it's lasted really well. And the great thing about having a flathead, which with today's camera setup, I'm not sure how well I'll be able to show it. But when you've got something in front of you, in between you and the glass, and you need to use a pole because you can't get up to the glass. So we'll use my window cleaning buckets here as an example. When you've got your flathead, yummy, yummy flathead. When you get a little bit caught, sometimes you need to come back. But all the way down to the bottom of the glass. No, that's where the flat 0 degree squeegee comes in handy. Now I haven't tried it with the 10, but I should probably try it with where I'm getting at, because I'm basically saying as long as you know where the edge of the rubber is, you'll be fine. But it is all practice. At the end of the day, it's all practice. That's why wagtails are still my favourite handle. We'll see how the accelerator goes. First of all, considering we're talking about squeegees, I'll get this back down on stand and we'll keep going through them. So I went through the different angles on it. The button here on the side pushes in, which allows you to move it. You've got this button which goes from top to bottom, which will lock it. So you can use it to lock it off like that. And then if you want to, this handle, you'll need to unlock it, pinch this in, so you'll need to do that because it's got teeth on it which hold the rubber. You can sort of go like that with one hand, I guess, and try and pull the rubber out, but it's just not going to happen unless you had like the clips off or something like that, which I don't know. I think if it came with some form of locking it once it was pushed down, so that you then had it unlocked and both hands to just replace the rubber blade and not have to like mess around with all the rest of it, I think that would be a major improvement on it. I personally don't see any real need for the teeth. I understand why they're there, and possibly when you've got sticky glass like eco glass where it's got an eco coating baked onto the internal side of the glass and it's really sticky and it's not easy, it doesn't seem to matter how much soap you put on there, there's just a lot of friction. In that case, having the teeth to hold the rubber on top of having the clips on the end could be more important. Now I've always used it with wagtails, well I first started using it with wagtails. Used it like this for years. There's got no teeth on it, so you can just simply pull it out and put a new one in. And this blue is a soft rubber, and you'll get two types of rubber. So I'll grab the one out my other Mole Man channel. This is not the one that's designed for it, and as I was saying, I've pretty well got to take the channel off, take a clip off. I believe I've changed the clips right now. That's funny, at the end of this, we'll actually get into a story of how just taking risk and just starting and doing things can pay off. And we'll do a review on the worst cut hat I've ever had in my life. Hence it got as dirty as it did being left in the back of the ute and it got thrown on the ground. Well, I shouldn't do that because I do like Mole Man, so we'll represent them. We'll hang it up here. Just that hat. Gosh, if they want my reviews on something, that hat's horrible. Anyways, you've got two types of rubber blades. One, the blue one, is rounded at the bottom, and your T-rubber is a T-shape. And I use the T-rubber in all of my classic channels. It's all I really have ever used for about 3.5 years. And my black diamond, see if I have a, I believe I've got one of the old original packets when I first got them. So it's pretty faded, but these blades are just perfect in my experience. And unfortunately my soap container has leaked in my bucket. Not cool. Lid's on and locked and everything. And this is not my window cleaning bucket, this is a bucket where I just keep my rubber blades in. Oh, no, we found the culprit. And this is what I get. I don't normally put my soap in this bucket. I didn't follow a habit. And there's a reason that I formed these habits. And now, a whole bunch of my rubber blades are covered in soap. That's annoying. Gonna have to wash them all. And I want to do that sooner than later. Okay, look, I didn't want to run off and digress too much, but I think this just enforces the decision-making process that you'll need to keep going through as the business expands. You need to keep making decisions. There'll be lots of things to digress over. Now, at the time I was making a video, but why was I making the video? I was making the video because I had time to make the video. So when I know that leaving soap on my rubber blades, and I've got this many rubber blades, it's not going to be good for my blades. And I got the time to stop and clean them, and then keep making the video. No point in losing money to make a video for a business that makes money. Capiche? squeegeerubber.com.au. This is the kind of decision that you want to make in business to accelerate quickly. Buy your rubber blades in bulk, like a dozen, and 4 or 5 boxes of a dozen of different sizes. I haven't brought rubber blades for at least a year and a half, if not 2 years. They've all kept fine. Not too happy about this. But I'll give them a good wash and I'll look after them. But yeah, you know, you want to keep reducing your overheads. If you do everything you can to reduce your overheads, and like, at least while you're just starting your business, it's just you won't be able to do this once you expand to the point of employing people. But if you just go out and do quality work, and as you secure work, and you feel secure enough and comfortable enough, you can start quoting higher and higher and building up your work and getting more and more work. And then you could either raise your prices, well, you will raise your prices, and on accounts that don't want to raise their prices, you can offer them a trainee to come do the windows for the same price, but you can't come do the windows for the same price. And you can tell them that they can't expect the same quality work that you now provide and that they've been receiving since you became better than you were when you first started servicing their account. Because you learn things. You become better and you become more efficient. And as you become more efficient, you don't just become quicker, but you actually do a better job. So yeah, you know, look at that. This following life brought me onto rubber blades and the commodity of the most important bit of your business. It's even more important than your squeegee handles and what brand you've got. This is the most important bit. This is the most important bit. And now, I'm here doing this, so I might as well make the decision that I'm going to continue to digress. I'm going to digress about decision making and squeegees and just not holding too much anxiety or thinking too much about anything really. Just be honest and commit and start and take risks. Taking risks does amazing things in life. Amazing how life just seems to open up as you start to take risks. Don't take risks that are too far beyond your ability though. Like when I started to ride with better bike riders than me, I would lose them going downhill. and I would watch and I'd learn, but I wouldn't try and go down the hill and go around the corner any faster than I could. By that point, I was in my mid-20s and I came off bikes enough times. So no, I didn't want to come off a bike at that kind of speed. You want to come off a bike in latex, Lycra or whatever it is, at like 70k an hour. That wouldn't be any fun, man. So you slowly get better. And that's what I'm saying, doing your business. You want business to slowly move on. Continuously. Always getting bigger. Not going backwards and forwards, but just one step at a time. I'm just, paying attention to the moment, like, what am I doing? What can I do now? Not what could I be doing, what could be coming to me in the future, what could, what am I harbouring onto in the past which is stopping me from doing what I'm doing? I've decided I'm going to start something and I'm going to move forward. And I can only be aware of it and try and stay on track as I move forwards. And the more I know, the better I'm going to be at doing what it is that I'm doing. And if I don't want to make too many mistakes, I can lean off the people around me. And just stay calm. Because, like, you never know what decisions to make, where they're going to lead. Like, when I first got on YouTube, and I was sort of just like, I don't know why these people keep going on about this particular squeegee being the best squeegee and blah 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 blah, when it's all just about skill and technique. But actually, brought a fair few views, brought some subscribers, brought me into contact with Poles and Blades and Bob, and I became an ease angel for Mole Man. I got Mole Man products, and good came from it. And I never had any male intent. It was just being honest. And I made some mistakes, and I learned from it and moved on. And now I can draw on that, and I can understand the situation better. Like, the Mole Man Liquidator channel is the greatest innovation in a window cleaning squeegee since Ettore first released the squeegee. Like the squeegee we're all using nowadays basically hasn't changed. Oh, I wish I could remember the whole story about Ettore and put that on now, but I don't need to reference it do any more than reference it. You can go look up the story of Ettore, Italian guy who made the squeegee. Like, look up the stories of people who've been successful and compare them all against each other, and like some Joe Rogan, word porn, like so many people, like so many motivational things, just like be yourself, just go forwards, like take the risks, and things might seem bad at one point, but just stand back and be like, it's okay, it's not that bad. And it's amazing where these things actually can end up taking you. So, I've never had to clean rubber blades before, but from my experience of cleaning windows, the window is really, truly, 100% clean when there's no soap left on it. And there's no soap left in this water, and we all know that water, soap, it'll bubble up, like the bubbles in the grass there. So, we draw on our experiences and we make the decision that the rubber is clean. So, using squeegees, a lot of it's about, I believe, understanding the water and how it's behaving on the glass. What I mean by that is, it can go any direction. It can be either going up or it could be going down the channel. It can like kind of defy gravity. Put some soap on here so we can see what we're doing. Swing the camera around, use the other lens, be a bit better. I'm just using a Samsung S6. And we're using that there as a stand. Right, so I've gone through how you want to be using this edge of the blade. Now, in the same way that you're using this edge for the glass, you can end up using this edge here for detailing where the frame is. Essentially, if the frame's 90 degrees with the glass, and so is this with the window, you won't have any detailing, as long as you've got a steady hand. As soon as you go over onto the rubber, it won't work. But a truly steady hand, even without the angle, you can pretty much get no detailing, as long as what's sticking out of this side of the channel is the same as what's sticking out from the front. So we have the same amount of rubber sticking out from the side as what's sticking out from the top, which is actually a little bit extra there at the moment, but close to. The less flex that there is in here, the more likely they'll both stay sitting on the two surfaces that you want to take the water off. So them edges are key to understanding a lot of this. Now, when you go on an angle that's acute enough, whether you're going up or if you're going down, what happens is as you start to come through the water, like that aggression, it actually pushes the water up and away, back up the channel. Or even if you're going like that, because the water can't be pushed up into here, it's getting forced down that way. So you just got to think of where the water's being forced away from the window, so that you can get no detailing. You can hear the squeaking there, how it's starting to run dry. And when you get that, it's like you want to apply the least amount of pressure. Half of it is just like, I'm not even really holding it, like, it's just sitting in my hand, like I'm not holding on tight. And the more water you have, well man, the more water you have on the window, the more of like a wave of water that's going to build up behind the rubber and push little bits of debris out the way. So yeah, you can, you know, reduce detailing with some extra strokes and with style and technique and all of that. And that's where the innovation of the Moleman channel comes in handy so much. And I've pulled the rubber out of it now. The fact that you can use it on any angle makes learning and process and like giving it to trainees so much easier. But then the fact that it's pushing towards the end of the rubber more on the ends, the rubber wears out quicker. So you can get tails coming along behind you, just need to change the rubber more often. I pay like $3 for the rubber. I know you could go into retail stores and pay $12 for the rubber. You know, like 800% markups. So it's important that you go get it wholesale, get it bulk, you're committed to it, so you're making smart decisions. But basically, I want to talk about using a standard channel, because there are a lot of brands, and Moleman's the only brand I know of that dog airs. You could dog air your own Squeegees and stuff, but I just don't care for that much. I think if you're better off just saving up some money, investing back into what's making you money, and buying the Moleman. Moleman's a good channel. And Sorbo's a really good channel. It's thick, it's reinforced, it's got a lot of advantages for it. Now, I just cleaned the frame, because a lot of the time, especially when you're doing first cleans, we're going to have a dirty frame. So if you hit it with your washer, get some soap on it, wipe it down, you've dried in around the edges, but you've still got a nice amount of water to build up behind your squeegee. It's just, it makes life easier. And keep an eye up above where you're working, that way if something's gone wrong, you can go back and get it. Now, I'm getting streaks here, which means there's either something stuck on the blade and the blade needs cleaning, or the blade is worn out and the blade needs replacing. And if you flip the blade around and use the other edge before you wear the corners out, you're going to get more life. So, thunder. My technique is, if I just start up here, I won't get the aggressive angle soon enough. So if that's my squeegee, then I want to start coming up from that point. and I do that, and then I tend to come back, because as I've came up here, then I don't have that aggressive angle up the top from here to here. But I can get that aggressive angle like that. So I could start coming at the top and then coming back to get that, and doing the same thing on the other side and coming back down. At the end of the day, you're going to work out what works for you. It's all about practice. All you can know is the fundamental bits, which is what bit of a rubber blade that you're using. And, you know, little things that you work out along the way, like you actually can squeegee the side at the same time. The shorter it is cut to the blade, the less you'll have. And as long as you go on a sharp angle, you'll get even less to none. So if you do the side first, and then do the other side, then come back and tackle the beginning, the middle, you're not then going to be putting water back on the side of your frames. If you've given yourself a dry line, and then just come and just, sometimes you'll flick water back over there. So, you know, slowing down and being mindful, and just doing it step by step is the quickest way, and just slowly getting quicker. And keeping an eye above where you're working. That way, as you do make any mistakes, you can come back up and fix them. Yeah. This blade hasn't been used for a while. It just took a little bit of use. Must have had a little bit of something sticky stuck to it that didn't clean off first time. So it seems to be working pretty well now. But like, basically that's the fanning you'll work out from practicing. The edge of the blade's what you want to use. Do not get detailing with a standard channel. It needs to be an aggressive angle. So that's where the mole man speeds you up heaps. The stiff channels are really when you've got really long ones and you're going to pull down or pull from the side. And look, there's multiple ways to doing everything, like in many ways. Alright, this here will just do is for smaller squeegee. You might have a big squeegee and a small squeegee. So you might wet the window, and I've got bigger channels somewhere, but I don't stopped using them all that much. But you might just start off by douche, going straight across the window, straight across the window, and then because there's only a small section down the bottom, if you had your big squeegee, there'd be too much dry section and not enough wet section. So you'd use your smaller squeegee to finish that off. And just using the biggest squeegee, like it would do, if you've got a squeegee that pretty much covers the whole length, you're probably going to get through it a lot quicker like that than actually fanning. And maybe the little bit that you got left, you just have a little small one, like smaller than this. Just a little 13-incher or something, which you just use your fanning techniques for and finish. Like even this one here was a bit big, because there wasn't a lot left. And you might use the two squeegees in conjunction with each other. So you might have a really big sorbo channel and a small little mole man. They accompany each other really, really well. There's no one perfect way. Oops. See, this bucket here generally doesn't leave my ute, so I don't have the habits and techniques to not chuck my soapy washer on there after having washed it. Oy. But really, you know, the other thing with pulling down, has it automatically put the flash on? That's pretty cool. Is up the top, you can either dry it just using the corner, then dry your blade on a towel or your shorts or whatever, and then you won't need to do any more than put it there and pull it down, because you won't have any water there to detail. Then your other option is you tap it off, and you might tap it a couple times till you feel that it's dry, and you come down. Now, you might have a really, really long, tall window to do, And you can get down about halfway and then you find that you've had to back up towards something. You can't move back any further because of the length of your pole. So you then need to shorten your pole. Wipe your blade down. And then you can come back to the clean glass and do that same tapping motion, lifting it up a little bit higher each time so you feel that it's dry. And then come down and finish it off and not have anything to worry about. Now I'd say if you're working up high with a pole, because you have all that extra torque of it being on a pole, I would suggest that all you do is get a sprayer. And these sprayers here are actually really good. Adjustable sprayers for spraying long distances. Like, the more water you got in it, the quicker they pump up. But, you know, and I've had, you know, motorized battery ones and all of that. So, especially if it's something you're doing regular, which if it's a really high thing, like you're using 45, 50 foot poles to do it, and squirting the water up, you know, it's part of your quoting and part of your communicating at the beginning. You say, like, if I need to do this regularly, it makes it a lot easier, it makes it a lot quicker. If you do it not done regularly enough, too much extra stuff needs to be involved, it actually ends up costing more. But yeah, you just use water, and then you got the pole to give the extra torque. Do the same work. There's no need in throwing soap up there most of the time. You're still going to probably need to give it a wash, depends how regularly you do it, like with your washer. But yeah, keep a washer that you don't put soap on. Or only use like a windscreen cleaning soap or something which is going to leave the least amount of residue. Anyways, it's enough. Squeegeeing is practicing. Quality of the tool is going to help. I recommend wagtails and molemans. I like pivoting ones. But sorbos are awesome as well. They all have their own uses. Like, I modified this so that I could use the sorbo channel. And DIY stuff is awesome. It's gone a little bit off center. But yeah, it's adjustable. So you can adjust it from one side to the other. Which, having a short bit like this, if you've got a piece of glass coming off the glass, like a baffle, by putting it like that, you can tap and drag down. If I was trying to tap and drag down with that much channel in between, as I pushed on it, it would just want to push the channel away, like, so use that side. So having a squeegee that you can adjust where it's centered is very good for that. Also, if you're a short ass and you want to reach an extra height, a long squeegee, particularly one that can be adjusted, can allow you to get up the tops. And, you know, you might tap and drag across. At the beginning, tapping and dragging across is a good way to just start. It really is. Being up the fan's not that important. You can be just as quick. Some of the quickest people I've seen at commercial jobs are just with really big squeegees, pulling down and pulling across. They're not fanning it much at all. That's what I'm saying. You may just want to pair two together. Anyways, I'm saying you don't want to be keeping your overheads too high when you're cleaning windows as well. And look, some stuff, there's just no issues with doing a DIY. Like, it's not something special. So, a short water broom or short water fed pole, you don't need to go get carbon fibre and all the rest. Quality's good though, and the Torre, they make a really good quality pole, which, you know, this one's been pretty thrashed. I've actually had this one for 3 years, so it's making me look like a liar or an idiot, but that doesn't matter. All that matters is, like, I haven't had any issues with it when I'm actually using it. You know what? It is sort of starting to show me up. No, there she is. There's a nice stiff spot. When you do have a water-fed pole, you don't want it to twist around too much like this is doing at the moment. You want it to be solid. You don't want the head to turn. But then I got Dougal Bug. I made this so it pivots, which I like a lot. But it also has a little bit of up-down pivot. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera. But as you're brushing up and down, it's going like that. So as you're pushing upwards, I find you can do that and you get more of an angle and squirt down and not get as much water up the top. So look, DIYs can be really good. And when it's a short broom, there's no point in it being carbon fibre or anything else. Alloy's fine. And you know, I've got my standard angle adapter on it. So I can change the angles. You know, this here was... This pole, I actually found this pole once on the side of a road, being driven over. So I had to redo it, so the internals here aren't actually proper. It used to lock really well. But what that brings me to is quality of tools. And the reason I think of that is the younger pole. So I've had for ages, and it just works really well. It's a quality product. Locks off, all the rest. This pole, which is a Glide X, doesn't matter how hard you do it, it'll still go up and down. Meanwhile, it doesn't have the twisting issue. So, and it's stiff enough to not really be an issue. And you get used to what you've got. That's the other thing, you definitely get used to what you've got. Well, it's starting to rain. Yeah, we're going to upload a few more videos, sort of in this style. But as I've been saying, you don't want to do too much and get ahead of yourself. All of this is for rankings. And Google will rank things better if they continuously build in momentum. They don't want to see it go up, down, up, down. And I think that might be because they know that good businesses just take one step at a time and constantly increase in momentum and make good decisions. Oh, I love the rain. Love the rain. But yeah, you got to take risks. You got to have faith. Like, you know, you can save a lot of money doing things yourself. It's just how important are they? Like, I made this bridge. It's been a little bit over flooded, but before any of that happened, I was able to get everything I needed to get over and into here, which I couldn't get up over the other driveway. Yeah, DIY is important. Like, there's no point spending money where it doesn't need to be spent if it's regarding a business. You want to spend money on making yourself feel happy. So I'll be putting links down the bottom towards things, towards information. But I definitely think it's worthwhile, worth watching.